We're live. Hold
Mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm.
It says it's live.
And we are. We're live right now.
Okay.
I can see myself.
Okay, cool.
All right. Cool. Thank you guys so much for supporting. As always, we are back. It's Mary Truth Talks. I am lit, man. This week has been awesome. Oh man, it's because I'm biased, obviously, because I wanted Trump to win, and he did. So I'm feeling great. Hope y'all feeling good too, because this is gonna be an awesome 4 years. I feel it in my bones. It's gonna be great, especially because all the people that swore they know about politics and are the experts were so wrong. So I honestly, that makes me feel good about myself and my intuition, that I am more aware on the political arena than people that have been doing it for decades and decades. So I think that was cool. So before I begin with the amazing stories I have for you guys, as always, I'm always going to say, check me out on Instagram, Mary_Truths. That way we can connect there. You can see what I'm thinking about on a daily basis, because I love to write. I am a writer at heart, and I love to say what I think out loud. And I think I should be able to just put it down in writing and allow people to see what's on my mind. And I recently got a TikTok account, and I've only been doing it for 2 weeks now. And I've already been striked on TikTok. So that's been fun. TikTok is very pro censorship. We have to fix that. Donald Trump, you got to fix that, because it's not cool that I can't speak my mind on TikTok. People need to be able to hear me out and be able to agree with what I have to say, no matter how offensive it may be to weak people that can't handle the truth. So aside from that, I'm always going to say, take care of your mind and body and go support MB Elevate. That is our wellness channel. Me and my partner, or my partner and I better said, we are cultivating a community that actually cares about the mind and body connection. And we genuinely believe that in order to elevate the country, in order to elevate our lives, we need to focus on the mind and body as one. So check out MB Elevate on Instagram. And let's begin. I'm so excited. Okay, so the first article is pretty much about the election and how it was a huge landslide. So what happened in this election has never happened before in American history. And I genuinely believe Donald Trump his face should be on Mount Rushmore, because it is incredible the results he was able to create and cultivate with all the obstacles in his way. It's very what's the word I'm looking for? It's not just inspiring. It's one of those stories that you're going to be able to look back and say, wow, like we were alive to see this. We were alive to actually see everything unfold, see the results, and the reactions of the Democrats, which I will get to, is, well, rich, to be nice. So I want to really quick kind of show you guys that the next 4 years might be even more red than this election. So the reason why I'm saying that is because if you were to go to New York, well, let's not go to New York. Let's go to California. If you were to click on California, you're going to see that it's mainly red. That the parts of California that are not red are San Francisco, Sacramento, Los Angeles, San Diego. But the rest of it is red. So I can predict that possibly in the next 4 years, it might just go even more red, to the point that California can be finally flipped red. I generally believe that is possible, because nobody thought that Pennsylvania would go red, or Michigan, and it did. So let's look really quick at Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is completely red except little bits of blue. We have Pittsburgh, we have Philadelphia, of course, and then Harrisburg. And I'm not sure what this other blue spot is over there, but it's mainly red. Nobody thought that would happen. It happened. Then we got Michigan. Michigan, people really thought that was going to be blue because most Muslims vote Democrat. Wrong. It was red. Only little parts like Detroit, of course, and Grand Rapids are blue. The majority of it is red. So I genuinely believe if you go to Oregon, it's the same thing. I really believe next election cycle, we may have a bigger red wave than we did this time around. We may have where we literally destroy the blue wall in the West Coast, meaning California, Oregon, and Washington State. So that's my prediction as of right now. Things can change in the next 4 years. I could be wrong. I'm just a regular American, just saying what I think out loud. That's all I'm doing. But you guys let me know what you think about these results, because this is crazy. Not to mention that we got the House, even though it's not official that we have the House, but we got the House and the Senate. So this is the red wave that we wanted in the last election, and we didn't get it. And maybe it was for the best, because now we did, and it's at a point where the Democrats don't know what to do with themselves. So because they don't know what to do with themselves, I actually want to show you guys an article that's been, this is a story that's been roaming around for a minute now, since after the results. So it's Kamala Harris's campaign. So to all my leftist, Democrat, liberal friends who really believed that Kamala Harris was going to be better for the economy than Donald Trump, I want to really look at this article by the New Republic. Harris raised $1 billion. Where did it all go? Not that one. Harris raised $1 billion. It's the New Republic article.
We're not going by order.
Yeah, Kamala in debt. That's the first bullet. So while you're looking for it, I'm going to read a little bit of it. So Kamala Harris raised more than $1 billion for her presidential campaign, which ultimately failed. In the afterglow of stunning defeat, some Democrats are now asking how she could have possibly spent anywhere near that much money and still lost her shot at the White House. The Harris campaign finished out the race with at least $20 million in debt. Two sources familiar told Political's Christopher Cadelago, who wrote on X Wednesday night, that of the $1 billion Harris had raised, only $118 million remained in cash as of October 16, with the realization that all of the spending ultimately accomplished very little and cost the party control of the White House. Thank God, right? Thank God. Instead of owning any mistakes or being transparent about the voter data and strategies that were so obviously wrong, they shut off their Twitter account and are patting each other on the back. The former consultant said, "We dug out of a deep hole, but not enough." Inside Harris's crumbled campaign, some feel that they were misled about her chances and led to believe it would be a margin of error race, which I don't understand how you can be led to believe that, but I really don't. Like, her responses to tough questions were non-existent. That's for starters. And her actions as a VP were terrible decisions. So I don't understand how you could have been led astray, but whatever. We continue. In reality, Trump blew apart Harris's play for the Blue Wall states and beat her by more than 4 million votes. Okay. On Biden's staffer put it, One Biden staffer put it more simply: how did you spend $1 billion and not win? What the fuck? That's actually in the article, which is pretty awesome that they actually cursed in the article. That's pretty wild. All right, so you get the point. This lady literally, okay, so she raised $1 billion and is in debt. How does that happen? It's because she doesn't know how to manage money. And this is the person that leftist, my friends, I love you, but you made a really bad decision. And I'm glad that the decision you made was not the majority. It was a small minority of people in states that made this really bad decision. The majority of us are very aware and awake from the wokeism, thank God. And we realize this person doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. She doesn't know what she's doing. And the aftermath clearly shows it. And that's not it. So in the Call Her Daddy podcast, which you were just on that, so go back to that. In the Call Her Daddy podcast, she literally spent, allegedly, she probably spent more, but $100 million she spent on redoing the Call Her Daddy like atmosphere, like the whole set. She spent donor money on redoing that set instead of just going to the original set. She actually spent money on redoing. Why would you do that? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? Oprah was paid $1 million to support her. Beyonce was paid, I don't know how much money, just to talk for a little bit about how abortion is like a necessity and blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, she had told the supporters that Beyonce was going to actually perform, and that was obviously a lie, just to get people to come to her like campaign to see Beyonce. And Beyonce at the end of the day wasn't gonna get paid enough, so she was like, yeah, I'm not gonna sing for you guys if you're not gonna pay me what I believe I should be getting paid. Which tells you that all these celebrities actually don't care about politics really, or like about the average person or whatever. They're just trying to make money, which I get it. You know, at the end of the day, you are a business person, you are an artist, you're a creator. I get it. You're trying to make money. But if you're going to pretend like you are, if you're going to endorse somebody, then you should do it willingly, not because you're getting paid to do it. So if they have to pay you to endorse somebody that's not genuine, which means that everything about the Kamala Harris campaign, to me, was a fraud. Everything about it was fake. And I'm sorry, but those who literally voted for her just fell for the fakeness. And to me, I don't understand how you could have possibly fallen for that, because it was blatantly obvious that it was fake. But I genuinely believe the only reason why you chose to vote for her is because you don't want to accept the fact that Donald Trump was a better candidate. For whatever reason, that is up to you to figure out. But the majority of Americans believe that Trump was a better candidate, Kamala Harris was a terrible candidate, and it's time for Democrats and liberals to actually question why most Americans don't agree with you. Instead of doing the blame game, which is what y'all are doing right now, or freaking out, because a lot of you are freaking out too. Instead, how about you just reflect and think, wait, maybe we were wrong, But I guess that takes a lot of courage, and you guys are not that courageous. Anyway, we're moving on. Let's talk about Democrats fighting with one another, because, we were just talking about that. So there's a video that I want to show you guys. This is great. I can't stand this guy. I don't like the fact that he continues to win in the Senate. It pisses me off. Vermont, when are you going to wake up and realize that this guy does not care about you at all? He just wants a bigger government and more taxes. But whatever. I digress. I'll talk about my reaction to him later. Let's watch this.
Well, as you know, your statement was met with some sharp reaction as well. This is what Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi had to say. Take a look. I'll get your reaction on the other side.
Bernie Sanders has not won. Let me, with all due respect, and I have a great deal of respect for him, for what he stands for, but I don't respect him saying that the Democratic Party has abandoned the working class families.
Senator, how do you respond to Nancy Pelosi?
Well, Nancy's a friend of mine, and we've worked together on many issues. But here is the reality. I have to say to Nancy, in the Senate in the last 2 years, we have not even brought forth legislation to raise the minimum wage to a living wage, despite the fact that some 20 million people in this country are working for less than $15 an hour. In America today, we have not brought, in the Senate, we have not brought to the floor the PRO Act to make it easier for workers to join unions. We're not talking about defined benefit pension plans so that our elderly can retire with security. We're not talking about lifting the cap on Social Security so that we can extend the solvency of Social Security and raise benefits. Bottom line, if you're an average working person out there, do you really think that the Democratic Party is going to the mats, taking on powerful special interests and fighting for you? I think the overwhelming answer is no, and that is what has got to change.
Thanks for watching.
All right,
Stay
that's it.
updated about breaking news and top.
Okay. I love how he says that, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he voted Kamala Harris. He is a part of the Democrat Party. He ran as a Democrat against, Hillary Clinton. Of course, they did what they did to him, but it doesn't change the fact that you are a part of that machine you're talking smack about. In fact, you believe in the machine and you want to make it bigger. I mean, okay, I've talked about this before, but I can't stress this enough. What is a livable wage? Please, I would love for, I can't stand when I hear that word because it really gets me, like, it just irks me inside because it brings out the ultimate capitalist side of me that it's just, what is a livable wage? Honestly, it doesn't make absolutely any sense. A livable wage. What does that mean? $20 an hour. Okay. What happens when the wage goes up? Everything else goes up in price. So what did you do? Nothing. So this idea of a livable wage is just nonsense. And it's just to get the young people to believe in socialist ideologies. That's all it is. That's all it's ever been, is socialism. This guy is a socialist. The only thing I like about him is that at least he, unlike Kamala Harris, he knows that he's a socialist and he owns it, which fine, I'll give him that. But it doesn't change the fact that you are a socialist. And to me, that is an enemy. That is an enemy. Because socialism is what screwed over Cuba, the country that I was born in, the country my partner and I were born in, the country that our families were raised in. Socialism destroyed our country. So anything remotely socialist, we're going to say, hell no. Because it didn't work. It didn't work it didn't work in Argentina. It's not working in Nicaragua. It's not working in Cuba. It's not working in Europe right now. It's not working in Switzerland. It's not working in Germany. It does not work. So I don't understand why the youth continues to have this mentality of, oh, we need more government. We need more taxes. We need to fund more social programs. No, we don't. That's the problem. We need less government. We need less social programs. We need people to actually start working for a living and actually work for what they want instead of getting handouts from the government. That's what we need to do. So the fact that he won again, it kind of pisses me off. But at the same time, eventually, Vermont, I truly believe you will realize that you've been voting for a socialist and nothing has changed in Vermont for the better. So I believe eventually y'all will realize that you keep voting for the wrong person in the Senate. But let's move on to the next one here. It's the beginning until a minute and 26 seconds.
Well, in our republic, voters get to make a choice, and there are always winners and losers. Some in the liberal media felt very confident in their candidate. Others said they should have been more cautiously optimistic.
I think it's going to be a blowout, actually. I don't think it's going to be a close race. I think there are going to be those Republicans that just vote for Harris.
It'll be tied on Election Day, as always it will. The polls will be tied, and then he'll lose.
You call us trash? Oh, J.D. Vance, you just effed up in a way that I've never seen in my political life, and I worked for Sarah Palin.
Then I would say take Harris over 270 electoral votes. Let these fools in these crypto markets do something. Let them drive the betting line into a favorable place and then take advantage of it. That's what I would do. I think she's going to win.
This month, you wrote Trump is toast. Do you stand behind that today?
Oh, even more so.
After America's voters spoke,
That's fine. All right, y'all get the point. They were wrong, very wrong. But let's watch really quick a video on Kamala Harris supporters. See how they think. Yep.
I am still processing it. It has been extremely disheartening, to be quite honest. I'm just so proud of our vice president and the campaign that she's run. We've all worked very hard. I was really hoping that the results would be different. And just trying to deal with the heartbreak, but still maintaining hope and that joy that she spoke about so often on the campaign.
Girl, you're going to be real joyful when those prices go down.
A lot of crying. I haven't slept much.
God, you're way too pretty to be this dumb.
A lot of thoughts going through my mind. But the one thing that's been persistent and consistent is the fact that I got invited back here to hear her speech. And just like she's been our champion and she's been fighting for us, I said I'm going to show up and show my support. Because as black women, we need to keep supporting each other, whether we're winning or losing. And so just like she's been fighting for us, I'm going to continue to support her and fight for her.
I don't blame Kamala. I think she ran in this short amount of time a pretty great campaign. She was really great on stage. She was really great at showing people who she is and what she believes.
No, she wasn't.
I think a lot of voters, men in particular, have a challenge with women leading at the highest level. It's ludicrous, but that's a part of the reality. But we're very, very proud of the vice president.
All right. So a lot of people are saying the reason why this lady lost is because she is a woman. Because they can't really, they can't dig deep inside themselves and think perhaps it's not her gender. Perhaps it's, I don't know, her personality, her annoying laugh, the fact that she does word salads and that has no substance to anything she says, the fact that in every campaign rally she had a teleprompter, the fact that when the teleprompter wasn't working she couldn't actually come up with a story, she couldn't freestyle, she would just like robot repeat the same thing over and over again until the teleprompter started working again. This lady is literally an NPC. I said that last time, I'm going to continue saying it again. You voted for a non-player character, you voted for a fake puppet, you voted for somebody that has no individuality, no sovereignty. It's literally like a copy and paste of a wannabe Barack Obama female version. I mean, her speech, her conceit, her saying that she conceded, that speech, you can tell she didn't write that. You can tell that was a straight up Barack Obama speech. Even the way she was trying to say it, oh, I'm gonna roll my sleeves up, that's what Obama says. That whole with the finger thing, that's Obama. This is a lady who's just trying to pretend to be somebody else instead of just trying to be herself. That's why she did not win, because she's not authentic, she's not genuine, she's boring. And the fact that she's good looking is not enough for people to vote for you. I'm sorry. It's not about your looks. It's not about the fact that you're a woman or a woman of color. It's the fact that you had nothing to say. You had multiple chances to say that how you are different from Joe Biden. Instead, you said you wouldn't do anything different. So they gave you multiple chances to be able to differentiate yourself from Joe Biden, and you decided not to. So as an American, we're gonna be like, well, if you're no different from Joe Biden, why the fuck do we need you? Why should we vote for you? Because you're a black woman? That's not a reason for me to vote for you. It's not about identity politics. I don't care that you're a woman, and I really don't care that you're a black woman. I need to know, how are you going to help me succeed? How are you going to help me? I don't need handouts from you. No. I need you to help me succeed by lowering down prices, by making it more affordable for people to live. And she didn't do that while she was vice president. So what makes you think, as the Democrats who don't want to understand, I'm talking to you guys, what makes you guys think that us, the American people, we're going to just allow ourselves to just be like, yeah, let's just allow another Democrat to run the country for another 4 years when we're not doing good right now? When the majority of people believe the economy is going on a wrong track? Why should we trust you? Give me a reason to trust you. You gave no reasons. So why are you surprised that she lost? In a landslide election, there should be no reason for you to come up with, oh, she's black woman and we're not ready for a woman. No, that's not the reason why. The reason why is because she had no substance. Her actions spoke louder than her words, and the words that she had, to be honest with you, lacked depth. So if you can't, put it this way, if I can't know who you really are by you being able to talk without edits, which she did a lot of edits, if I can't hear you speak for more than 20 minutes, I how can I trust you? Donald Trump is older than her, and this guy was able to talk to Joe Rogan for 3 hours. He was able to go on Theo Vaughn and talk for him for another 2-3 hours. This is a much older guy. What excuse does she have? She doesn't have an excuse. It's just incompetence. Like the lady, people think, oh, because she has all these titles, that's enough for her to be qualified. I don't give a shit about your titles, lady. I need to know that you can actually tell me why you're better. Sell me why you're better. If you cannot sell me why you're better, then you're not fit for the job. I don't care what your titles were. I don't care what your track record looks like. I don't care, because at the end of the day, everything that you put on paper can all be BS. If you can't actually explain to me why what you have on paper makes sense. So to me, all of her attorney general, district attorney, all that to me doesn't mean jack shit if you can't actually explain to me why you're a better candidate. And I'm not the only one who felt that way. What was it like? I would say 85% of people in America agree with me on that. So before I get to the media, like specific parts of media not supporting Kamala Harris, there's also this thing going on right now. This is why capitalism is such a beautiful thing. So the market right now is no longer supporting leftist media channels. And I'm not talking like big media. I'm talking like independent media. Like, for example, the Young Turks or the Pac-Man, Dave Pac-Man, or Schneider, or this other one who's a lawyer. I forgot his name now. But all these independent podcasters who have so much following and so many subscribers are losing followers, are losing subscribers, because you no longer I don't like to use the word credible. That's the word that people are using. It's just, you're full of shit, because you kept saying Donald Trump this, Donald Trump bad, Donald Trump crook, Donald Trump everything bad, everything negative about Donald Trump, and yet the American people disagree with you because you're living in a bubble, and we are actually living in reality. So like Pac-Man, who actually came out and said that he lost, 5,000, 10,000 subscribers? 10,000 subscribers, which to us is a lot, 'cause we don't even have 1,000, but to him, even though he has a lot, to him it hurts, because that's his livelihood.
He's losing subscribers in his Patreon, or paid subscribers. He's losing all of those too.
And guess what? You deserve it, because you are a liar. And fortunately, the market is no longer favoring liars. The market is finally becoming fair. It's finally allowing people to see who you really are, David Pac-Man. And not only are you a socialist, but you also prefer the enemy, which to me is Marxist ideology. You prefer a Marxist cultural ideology. You want a socialist type of system, and you honestly don't want entrepreneurship. You don't want smaller government. You want big government. So, and people are seeing that now. So you and Destiny and all you losers who for some reason have gotten so much influence, finally are getting the taste of your own medicine, that you've been living in a bubble, and you finally realize that you've been living in a bubble, and people are now realizing that you are a fraud. So I'm glad that you're losing followers because you deserve it. Anyway, let's move on. I want to talk about big media and how they didn't support Kamala Harris, which is, I knew the minute this happened, I was like, she's going to lose disgustingly. I just felt it. So let's do that. CNN endorses presidential candidate, that one. You got it? Okay, cool. So this is pretty crazy because this has never happened before. So the Washington Post, for the first time in 36 years, chose not to endorse a presidential candidate. This is something that is historical. This is, like I said, 36 years, guys. Okay? So this is pretty crazy. So you all know that Jeff Bezos is the owner of Washington Post. So he and the board decided that we're no longer going to endorse a presidential candidate. That obviously, you know, a lot of people that were working under the Washington Post decided to leave. And he also is now wanting more conservative writers in the opinions. I think it's called the opinion. Forgot what it's called. Opinion polls or opinion platforms. It's the article, the section of the article of the Washington Post where you can do like your opinions and you can like write your own opinions there. He wants more conservatives there. He doesn't want like a bunch of leftists because the Washington Post is full-blown left. So even though he lost a lot of people, he does not care. It didn't faze him because at the end of the day, the Washington Post is not making really any money, and he's been subsidizing the Washington Post. And if you have a business that's not making you any business, and you've been subsidizing the business for this long, something's gonna have to change if you want to make money out of this business. So all he's doing is just changing up the strategy of the business in order for the business to start making money. Because if you only have an echo chamber of people going to the Washington Post and you're realizing that's not making you any money, you're gonna have to obviously change routes. So the Washington Post will not be making any endorsements of a presidential candidate in this election, nor in any future presidential election. That is wild. 36 years, guys. 36 years. Post publisher Will Lewis said in a statement, "We are returning to our roots of not endorsing presidential candidates," which is what all media platforms should be doing, and they are not doing. It's not your job to be going from one side or the other or debating like who's better. Like, that's not your job. Your job is to be impartial. And I don't think that ever, I mean, maybe it was a thing, but I mean, ever since I've been here, it's never been a thing. But then again, I haven't really been here that long in the States in the grand scheme of things. I've only been here for 22 years, I believe. 23 years, something like that. So let me see here. The Post has endorsed a presidential candidate in every election since the 1980s. That is crazy. We recognize that this will be read in a range of ways, including as a tacit endorsement of one candidate or as a condemnation of another, or as an abdication of responsibility that is inevitable, Lewis continued. We don't see it that way. We see it as a consistent with the values the Post has always stood for and we hope for in a leader. Yes. Character and courage and service to the American ethic, veneration for the rule of law, and respect for the human freedom in all aspects. God bless. All media platforms should be doing this. So aside from the Washington Post, another platform that decided to do the same thing was the LA Times. So the LA Times has been endorsing presidential candidates since 1884. 1884, guys. That's freaking wild. All right, let's read it really quick here. Because this is...
Another article?
Yeah, LA Times, presidential candidate.
LA Times.
Right after the CNN one. LA Times owner decisions not to endorse in presidential race sparks resignation questions. All right. So Times owner said that in his decision not to offer readers a recommendation would be less divisive in a tumultuous election year. 3 members of the editorial board resigned over the move. That's crazy. So the LA Times decided not to endorse somebody, and 3 members of the editorial board just resigned. His daughter said Saturday the Gaza war influenced the decision not to endorse, but Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong said Gaza did not play a role. She does not have any role at the LA Times, nor does she participate in any decision or discussion with the editorial board, he said. The Times owner, Dr. Patrick, said, I have no regrets whatsoever. In fact, I think it was exactly the right decision. He said in an interview with the Times on Friday afternoon, the process was to decide how do we actually best inform our readers. And there could be nobody better than us who try to sift the facts from fiction while leaving it to readers to make their own final decisions. Yes, that is what the media is supposed to do. You're supposed to give the stories and let us come to our own conclusions. I'm glad that we're finally coming to a realization of what the media is supposed to be doing, which is crazy that it's taking so long for that to happen. But hey, better late than never, right? All right. So a lot of people don't know this, but this is a really fun fact that I actually asked ChatGPT because I wanted to know the truth. A lot of people have this perspective. If you can put me back.
Oh, sorry.
A lot of people have this perspective that we should vote for a Democrat because Democrats are for the people. The Young Turks, the owner of the Young Turks, Cenk, whatever his last name is, I can't pronounce his last name. He's all about populism, which I'm going to give my response to populism towards the end of this podcast. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because my friends on the left really believe that Kamala Harris was for the people. She tried to make herself seem like that. I don't know how you could fall for that because it's a sheep in wolf's clothing. I really don't believe that she was for the people. It was obvious to me that she was not for the people. But unfortunately to other people, you know, you're going to believe whatever you want to believe regardless of what the facts are. However, because the election is over and now we know that she is not for the people because the people chose and it was not her, I want to tell you guys who she was actually for. So I asked ChatGPT, how many billionaires endorsed Kamala Harris and Donald Trump? Well, it turns out 83 billionaires endorsed Kamala Harris and 52 billionaires endorsed Donald Trump. So you tell me, who is she really for? Is she really for the people or is she for the elites? So this idea that she was trying to portray to you guys, that she was caring about the middle class because she came from a middle class. If you come from a middle class, then why are you being endorsed by 83 billionaires? I know, right? But the media didn't want to actually talk about that. The big media didn't want to actually share with you guys that this person was never for the people and she was always for the elites. She was always for the big corporations. And I have nothing against big business or any business for that matter. I endorse business. I endorse capitalism. I endorse free trade and free market. I'm all for it. But don't come to me and tell me that you are for the middle class when you're being endorsed by 83 billionaires over the actual billionaire that's running against you, and 53 billionaires are on his side. So it makes you think as an American, why would the majority of the billionaires be on her side instead of on the billionaire side? That is the question that it should be on everybody's mind, including those who voted for Kamala Harris. So I actually want to talk about Law and Order now. I think it's really amazing that it's crazy because the live that I had with my best friend who's very lefty and then her boyfriend who's also very lefty. I love you guys very much. Shout out to you guys. You probably not very happy right now, but I'm ecstatic. So they, in one of the last lives that we had, They swore that this guy was a criminal and, he should be indicted and all this nonsense, right? Which makes me feel like you don't really cherish presidency if you think that a former president should be behind bars, because we didn't put FDR behind bars, we didn't put Bill Clinton behind bars, we didn't put Obama behind bars. So why is Donald Trump any different? And that's something that we should all question. Why are you so? Why are you not? You don't hesitate to put Donald Trump behind bars, but God forbid a Democrat, did bad things, they don't get to go behind bars. So it's just, to me, it's very hypocritical, and it's very un-American that you would want somebody that was a president and then is now going to be the president again for you to put him behind bars because you don't agree with the way he was, or because you believe in the Justice Department and what they were saying. But at the end of the day, the Justice Department had no business in doing what they were doing, because now the special counsel evaluating how to unwind 2 federal cases against Trump after presidential win, which is what I told you guys, that if he wins, they were not going to jail him because they can't. There's actually a rule that if in the Justice Department, that if you are now a president-elect, they cannot jail you. They cannot put you behind bars because we're not a banana republic. Thank God. So now they have to figure out what on earth they're going to do with all these cases. And obviously they know that they have to get rid of them. So they have to get rid of them in a legal, lawful way. But it makes you think. Let's use our thinking, let's use our brains here. I was going to say our thinking noggins. So if he won and now you have to remove the cases, doesn't that make you think and start now questioning, were these criminal charges even just to begin with? Because if they were really just, you wouldn't be trying to now unwind or kind of like pull back. You wouldn't be doing that. If anything, you go even harder, regardless of it. You wouldn't care, because you would believe, oh, he's not above the law, even though the Americans want him to be president. He's a criminal, blah, blah, blah. But that didn't happen. Instead, they're like, oh, okay, well, the American people want him. Damn it, we can't get him now. Now we're going to have to unwind. Which tells me as an American citizen that all you were doing was prosecuting him for political reasons to get him not to get elected. That's all you were doing. Because if the criminal cases were legitimate, you wouldn't be unwinding them now. You wouldn't be pulling back now. Because now they literally they can't do anything. Of course, some of them are fighting, like Letitia. Miss Letitia is fighting. She's not a happy camper because, New York is still blue, but a lot of it is now red and they're scared. So let's look at that video really quick. The one with Letitia James asked point blank, are you worried about Trump saying you should be arrested?
Attorney General, I want to ask you, you mentioned retribution and revenge in your remarks. Trump has appealed the civil case, the $450 million judgment. I want to ask you specifically what you think last night's results mean for that. And more specifically, Trump has said that you should be prosecuted, and I'm quoting, for your role in the suit. He's also said that you should be arrested and punished. That's also a quote. And he said that he would support plans to prosecute you for election interference. Are you worried about any of that?
So I'm of the opinion that faith and fear don't share the same space. I'm not fearful of Donald Trump. I've never been fearful of Donald Trump. It's unfortunate that Donald Trump would engage in these comments. At this point in time, as you know, the case is on appeal, and we are looking forward to the decision of the appellate division.
Lady, it's not Donald Trump who wants you arrested. It's the American people who want you arrested for doing what you did to him and indirectly to us. Because by you wanting to jail the person that we wanted in power to represent us, the American people, you are indirectly jailing us as well, because you were trying to put our president behind bars. So it's not Donald Trump who wants you arrested. It's the American people, just to be clear. Okay. So I want to go really quick to this one. This is a crazy story. So before we go to it, I really want to just share like what it's about. And I don't like the fact that they actually exposed this person's name. They practically doxed this person. Fox thankfully didn't put her name here, but other media platforms did, and I will give my reactions to that. But long story short, before we get into the story, there is a female worker who literally told her employees to not help those in need during the hurricane aftermath if they were Trump supporters. So yeah, that happened. That broke in the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail was the first one to get it. Whistleblowers went to the Daily Mail. And then, of course, the Daily Mail just kind of spread that around to all media platforms. So let's start reading here. A Federal Emergency Management Agency, which is FEMA, official who instructed hurricane Milton relief workers to skip homes with Trump signs has been fired from her role. A FEMA spokesperson tells Fox News, but Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is investigating the federal agency over the controversy. The FEMA official, who has not been named by the agency, instructed workers canvassing Lake Placid in Florida to avoid homes advertising Trump as they ascertained what residents could qualify for federal aid, according to internal messages first obtained by the Daily Wire. The Daily Wire reports that government employee told the outlet that at least 20 homes with Trump signs or flags were bypassed from the end of October and into November due to the best practices guidance from the official. The houses were skipped over by the workers who wrote the messages such as Trump sign, no entry per leadership in a government system, per the outlet. So this is pretty sad, but the only thing I don't like about this is that Fox was nice enough not to put the lady's name out there. It is a female, and she is black. That it doesn't really matter, but she's a black female who obviously voted for Kamala Harris. And I don't like the fact that they actually exposed who she was. They literally put a picture of her and they put her first and last name. I don't like that because there has to be a level of privacy. I don't like that even though she did something wrong, very wrong, she should, completely lose. Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't believe that even though she did something very wrong, that she should have been exposed to the point where everybody knows what this lady looks like now, and everybody knows, and the majority of people voted for Trump. So think of it in the sense of the majority of the country voted for Trump, and now we have a lady with a face and a name that literally told her employees, hey, don't go to these people's houses because they're Trump supporters. Don't help them during the hurricane. Now, her life is technically at risk because I can't say that some Trump supporters are not going to get offended by it or going to get upset about it or get aggressive and try to, hunt this lady down, because at the end of the day, we have extremists in every corner, right? We have extremists on the right, extremists on the left. So I don't like that they actually showed her face and her legal name. I don't think that was cool, but I understand why they did it, transparency and all that. However, what she did was really bad and she should have repercussions. Getting fired shouldn't be the only thing that should happen to her. I think there should be some prosecution because you are a federal employee. You are getting paid by taxpayer funding to actually help people during natural disasters. You shouldn't be cherry picking what person you should pick versus another. So the fact that you did that because of your ideology, you should be prosecuted to an extent, however that is under the law. But at the same time, I don't agree that her face should have been everywhere for people to know who this lady was. That's my take on it. You guys tell me what you guys think. That's the only thing I didn't like about that story, was that they actually put her out there like that. I think that was kind of messed up. Nobody needs to know her name. They just need to know that there was an official who did that. Her name was, to me, kind of irrelevant. But whatever. You guys tell me what you guys think. By the way, thank you guys, those who are here. I appreciate you for showing up and coming in. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, because I need you guys' support in order for the algorithm to actually push my videos to other people. So let's go to the next story. Okay, so this one is, I love it because I was actually talking to my leftist friends about this not too long ago on my live with them, when I was talking to them about crime in California and how when Kamala Harris was district attorney and attorney general, crime rate supposedly went down, but then it actually spiked up when she left. So did it really go down? Not really. It was just all like a facade. So the article is by Voters Go on Tough Crime in California. So California backlash hands defeats a progressive criminal justice reform. I'm glad the Californians are finally realizing that they've been indoctrinated by left-wing idiots. So True Blue California predictably delivered its 54 electoral votes to Vice President Kamala Harris this week. We all saw California was mainly red, so it was just the big cities that were blue. But farther down the ballot, Democratic voters struck a blow at a key progressive policy and candidate aimed at criminal justice reform. The results are in step with national polls that shows Americans, both Democrats and Republicans, increasingly concerned about crime despite an overall drop in violent property crime since the 1990s. Even surges during the COVID-19 pandemic did not see the overall reach levels of 25 years ago. Crime in particular is a local issue, says Mark Baldassar, survey director for the Nonpartisan Public Policy Institute of California. Regardless of statistics, what matters most to voters is how they feel about safety at home. With issues of crime, he explains, what's important is perception. And what we had been seeing in our polling, that people were showing less confidence in their police and more concern about local crime, leading to their proposition. Californians' crime numbers are relatively high, even though my leftist friends literally quoted a justice organization the last time we went live together, claiming that crime is down and even that illegal migrants don't commit as much crime as legal migrants. But if you look at where the illegal migrants are, they're in these liberal cities and liberal states where crime is up. So it just doesn't make sense. California crime numbers are relatively high. Violent crimes, which have gone up and down over time, remain 15% higher than in 2019. Homicides involving guns are nearly 20% higher than pre-pandemic levels. Property crimes went down in most counties last year, but up in some of the largest, including Los Angeles. So it just makes you wonder, how did crime go down when Kamala Harris was there, and then the minute she left, everything just went into flames. It just makes me wonder that all she did was all a facade to make her look good for what she really wanted, which was the presidency. In response, California voters brought back felony prosecutions for some drug and theft crimes, and in Los Angeles replaced Democrat District Attorney George Gascon with a former Republican who ran as an independent. Look at that. I'm telling you, I'm predicting Cali's gonna go red. Voters in San Fran held onto a replacement for the progressive district attorney they recalled in 2022, and voters in Alameda County supported the recall of DA Pamela Price, a criminal justice reform advocate in Oakland, where the count was not finished Thursday morning. The recall of Justice former Mayor Sheng Tao looked to be winning in early results. So this is pretty wild. So I'm gonna go down here really quick because this paragraph really got to me. With State Proposition 36, voters rolled back some progressive policies they voted for 10 years ago. 10 years ago, Kamala was there. after a U.S. Supreme Court order mandated that the state thin out its overcrowded prisons and reduce its outsized share of racial or ethnic minority inmates, which is retarded, but okay. The prison population dropped nearly 23% between 2014 and 2023, and probably all those people are in the streets doing crime, doing crime. I'm going to just say that because that's probably what they're doing. And then, okay, let me see. The prison population dropped nearly 23% between 2014 and 2023, but California continues to house disproportionately large Latino 46% and Black 28% population as a share of the total. So you dropped the prisons to nearly 23% between 2014 and 2023, but they still continuously have 46% of Latinos in there and 28% of Blacks in there. So I don't know. They claim that they're like pro Blacks and Hispanics, and you know they're very pro minorities, but that's a big chunk of minorities in prison in California. But hey, whatever. The new law allows felony charges for thefts under 950 if the offender has at least 2 previous theft or drug convictions. It applies to a wave of smash and grab retail crime that swept through the country in the pandemic. So what they did was they undid what Kamala Harris did. Yes! Good job, Californians. Good for you. You did it. You are fighting back against your insane progressive policies. And you're realizing there are consequences to progressivism. You got it. You guys understood me. Okay. So, let's continue on. It gets better. Okay, so now we're going to talk about foreign policy because, you know, now that we have a new president of the United States, you know, he's technically now the president of the free world, like they like to say. So I thought it would be cool for you guys to see how other people from all around the world in leadership of their country actually are relieved that Donald Trump won. Check it out.
Can I begin by congratulating President-elect Trump on his historic election victory. As the closest of allies, the UK and US will continue to work together to protect our shared values of freedom and democracy. And having had dinner with President-elect Trump just a few weeks ago, I look forward to working with him in the years to come.
I see a shining victory, perhaps the biggest comeback in the history of Western politics. It's been a huge fight. He was threatened with prison. His wealth was confiscated. They wanted to kill him. The whole media world turned against him in America, and he still won.
Yep.
This means a big encouragement for those who believe in willpower, fighting, perseverance. For the world, it means the hope of peace.
Die Amerikanerinnen und Amerikaner haben gewählt. Donald Trump hat die Wahl klar gewonnen. Dazu gratuliere ich ihm. Erstens, Deutschland bleibt ein verlässlicher transatlantischer Partner. Wir wissen um den Beitrag, den wir für diese Partnerschaft leisten und auch in Zukunft leisten werden. Das gilt auch mit Blick auf die Bedrohung, die Russland nach Auffassung aller NATO-Alliierten für die Sicherheit im euroatlantischen Raum darstellt.
美国的总统选举是美国的内政，我们尊重美国人民的选择。关于你提到的这个关税我们不回答假设性的问题。
المرحلة القادمة للشعب الفلسطيني إنها تكون صعبة جدا رغم الدمار والموت.
Yeah, some random dude in Palestine, because Palestine doesn't have representation because, you know, they're owned by a terrorist organization. So that is one video, and I wanted to actually show you another video. This is Putin giving his perspective.
Little Putin.
Until 1 minute, by the way. Beginning until 1 minute.
Ну, вы знаете, можно тоже как угодно к нему относиться, ведь все изначально в первой его итерации президентской говорили, что он бизнесмен в основном, и он мало чего в этом понимает в политике, он ошибок может наделать. Ну, во-первых, я вам могу сказать, его поведение в момент покушения на его жизнь, я не знаю, но на меня произвело это впечатление. Он мужественный человек оказался. И дело не только в поднятой руке и в призыве бороться за их общие идеалы. Дело не только в этом. Хотя это, конечно, знаете, на драйве, на таком, все как бы... человек проявляет себя в условиях, в экстраординарных условиях. Вот здесь человек проявляет себя, и он себя проявил, на мой взгляд, очень правильным образом, мужественно, как мужчина.
Is that it? Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Shows himself, and he showed himself, in my opinion, in a very correct way, courageously, like a man. Yeah, you better say that, buddy. You're a man. A manly man. All right. Okay, not yet. I'm giving my ultimate reaction to everything, and then we'll close it with Okay, cool. So, this has been a historical event that we're going to remember for the rest of our lives. But this is not the end. This is only the beginning. And to those of you who are not happy that he won, I think you guys need to really think about why the majority of people disagree with you. I think it's time for you guys to realize that perhaps you're not on the right side of history. I genuinely think that this is not going to be the end of the red wave. This is only going to be the beginning. I think that this is going to be a movement that's going to last longer than what Democrats think. They believe that this is just going to be 4 years and that's it. I'm sorry to break it to you, but this is not just going to be 4 years. This is going to be years of fighting against the woke ideology, the Marxist, socialist, trans movement ideology. We're not going to take it anymore. We're actually going to fight back in the votes. We're going to fight back in the media. We're going to fight back in the Senate, in the House, and in the Supreme Court. We're going to continue fighting because a true liberal, what a liberal really means is somebody who believes in freedom. That's what a liberal means. I consider myself technically a liberal in a sense of I cherish freedom. That's why I'm all about capitalism, because capitalism gives you that. But what we call now liberals are not actually liberals. They are progressives. And progressives don't really believe in liberty. They believe in select freedom and control. Progressives, like the Young Turks, believe, or David Pacman or Destiny, etc., they believe in populism. Populism is what destroyed Cuba. Populism is what created the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia. Populism is what destroyed the economy in Argentina. Populism is what has destroyed the economy of so many countries, because it's this idea that we should favor the quote-unquote average middle-class family, and we should revolt against the 1% or revolt against the wealthy. But if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, and you were to actually look at it in a libertarian perspective and in a capitalist perspective, then you would realize that you need those wealthy people because they create jobs for the middle class to actually flourish. We need entrepreneurs. We need big business. We need small business. But we do not need big government. And that's what makes us different from a progressive. Because a real liberal does not want big government. They just want freedom. But a progressive, who is now called a liberal, which is false, they are progressives, They don't want actual freedom. They want government control, and they're using the word populist as a means to make you believe them, which is exactly what Obama did. That's exactly what Kamala Harris did. That is exactly what Bernie Sanders did. Bernie Sanders talks a lot of big game, but Bernie Sanders lives in a millions of dollars of a home. So it's really easy for him to talk all this smack about wanting to give back to society, but he lives within the elites. So this mentality of the leftist, we're going to fight and we're going to win. Like we won in this election, we're going to win in the next one. And I'll leave you guys with this message with one of my favorite economists and professors of all time.
It's a funny thing. After the fall of communism, everybody in the world agreed that socialism was a failure. Everybody in the world, more or less, agreed that capitalism was a success. And every capitalist country in the world apparently deduced from that that what the West needed was more socialism.
I'm leaving you guys with that message. Thank you guys so much for subscribing, like, share, subscribe, comment. I need you guys to help me grow the channel. I'm going to continue doing my thing, but I need you guys to help me out and do yours. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Mary